In this video, I want to talk to you about chop saws. I've touched on those before earlier in the course, but the purpose of this video is to give you insights so you can buy one intelligently and with confidence if it makes sense for you. So this is one of my chop saws. This is a big one, and I happen to have it mounted in a stationary way. It's mounted in this cabinet, which has a fan in it, so it sucks the dust down. That's a custom thing, and it doesn't really have to do with what I'm talking about now, but this is what I would call a full-size chop saw. I mean, it gets its name because of the chopping action, right? The wood sits here. I'll be giving you a demonstration in a minute. The wood sits here, and the whole blade and motor assembly chop down when it's spinning to cut the wood. Now, this saw also happens to be what they call a sliding compound chop saw, or miter saw is another word for it. And that's because the whole thing can move like this. So it can cut quite wide material. That's where the whole sliding thing comes in. Sliding is not really an accurate term to use on this particular model. This is unique in that it has a kind of hinged articulation going on here. And that's how it slides back and forth. Most of the sliding saws slide on rails, maybe one big rail or two smaller rails. Sometimes it's three rails. I like this saw because it doesn't have the rails. I could not use a saw with rails in this place because the rails stick out fairly far behind, and I just don't have the room there. But the claim to fame is wide cutting capability. So that means at least a 2x12. You know, some of them can cut up to around 13 inches wide. Part of that's because of the sliding action, and part of that is because of the large blade. This would be a 12-inch diameter blade on here, which is all part of why it's such a large capacity machine. Now, as with all chop saws, this can swivel. So it's an angle tool, and you can see the angle scale here. So that's 0, which means it cuts at 90 degrees. So 0 deviation from the 90-degree cut. It's got, like I said, like all chop saws, it's got positions that kind of automatically click. And these positions are the kinds of positions that a person might want, like 45 degrees. There's other weirder looking angles here. 22.5 is half of 45, but these other ones like 35.3, you know, why would we want that? Why would we want 31.6? Well, the reason is because for cutting crown molding up near the top of a room can be cut flat, but in order to get the angles right up at the ceiling, sometimes you have to do some funny business down here with obscure sounding angles, depending on the kind of crown molding you're using. So I called this, earlier before I called this a sliding compound miter saw, and that whole compound business refers to the ability of the whole motor and cutter head assembly to bevel to one side. In fact, this one can do both sides. So that's where the compound comes in. It's a compound angle. It can cut an angle like this, but then the blade can also be tipped over at the same time, so you can get an angle in two directions. Now, I rarely use this particular saw for the compound angle part of things because I'd have to reach around here. I'd have to swivel the saw over, and I have my little shroud for dust control so that the dust gets sucked down into this machine properly. So it's not that convenient here because of the way I have it set up. But now I want to take you to a different style of chop saw, one that I think may be better suited to you as a beginner than some big thing it's technically portable, but it's just not all that portable. Not unlike the one that I'm going to show you right now. So now I want to show you something at the other end of the chop saw spectrum, and that's this unit here. Much smaller blade, but it has that sliding action still. So this is still considered a sliding compound chop saw because it can swivel this way, and it'll also bevel from side to side, like I can show you here now. So quite a versatile piece of equipment. As you can see, we cut into two angles there, compound angles. The value of this kind of saw, this style of saw, is portability. It's much lighter than the other one I showed you. It's plenty powerful. I guess the one drawback is that it can't cross-cut as wide. And that's for interior projects like traditional interior woodworking and furniture building and things like that, you rarely have to cross-cut wider than, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 inches. And most of your cross-cutting is narrower than that. So a saw like this is fine. The smaller the saw, of course, is less expensive, so you can save some money there too. But it still works fabulously well. Now this particular saw happens to be cordless too. And most of the small saws aren't cordless. DeWalt has an excellent cordless small sliding compound miter saw like this one. And it's sort of surprising how many cuts you can get from a battery too. And this comes back to the lithium-ion battery technology that has really revolutionized the cordless tool scene. So let me just make a cut here. I want to show you kind of the main advantage of a chop saw, and that's accuracy and smoothness of cut. So let me just do a quick cut here for you. I hope you can see how smooth that is. There still are a few saw marks here, but incredibly smooth and perfectly accurate in this direction. So 90 degrees in this direction and 90 degrees in this direction. And that's really the main advantage of something like this. Fast, accurate, controllable cross cuts. Okay, cross cuts as opposed to rip cuts, which are along the length of the wood. You'll rarely cut any sort of sheet material like plywood or MDF or particle board on something like this, unless the pieces are already fairly narrow. So this is primarily for solid woodwork and cross-cutting at 90 degrees or any angle, between 90 and 45. And in fact, there is one other thing I want to show you here, now that I think of it. And that's the value of a saw design that goes somewhat beyond 45. See, so 45 is here, but we can push this saw. You won't be able to see it there, but we can push the saw. Yeah, there we go. See, we can push it a little bit past 45, and the value of that is because technically all you ever need, as far over as you need is to cut is 45, but sometimes a corner isn't really 90 degrees. And sometimes you need to fudge the two 45 angled cuts, 45 degree angle cuts that would come together. Sometimes you have to have those cuts greater than 45 in order to get the so-called 90 degree angle you want. If you're fitting some wood to kind of an unusual situation, something that maybe should be square but isn't square. So that's why they make these so that they go beyond 45. And let's just take a quick look over at the other chop saw. I think that one goes to 55 if I remember, and that's quite an advantage. So actually I was wrong here. If you come over and take a look, we don't have 55 degrees of miter angle. We've got 60. We can flop this thing over 60 degrees from square. No wonder I like this saw so much. It's always done well for me. I should mention too that this saw and the previous one that I showed you both slide, or they move back and forth to increase the width of wood that you can cut. But if you're interested in absolute accuracy, so a saw that's where the blade's not going to wobble and everything is rock solid, all else being equal, the non-sliding versions of these saws are a little more stable. As I said, all else being equal, a little more stable, because there's just less of a mechanism to introduce some movement. See, this has got this sliding mechanism here, and it's a fine saw. I've never run out of any accuracy capacity on this, but for people that do trim installation, especially wide pieces of trim, they usually like the non-sliding model because there's no side-to-side movement at all. I mean, if I lean on this one way or the other, you see, I can move the blade a little bit. That's what I'm talking about. With a non-sliding model, there's just one big fat hinge point. It just chops down. There's no sliding, so there's a lot less, well, just less stuff to wiggle. Now, just as I'm finishing up, I just want to show you something purely out of interest. There is a whole class of chop saws that are meant for metal, not wood. I work with metal probably almost as much as I work with wood. So let's just take a quick look at this metal cutting chop saw. I have got it set up. I'm ready to do some cuts, and so you can see how the other side lives, so to speak. So this is my metal cutting chop saw. It can't be used interchangeably for wood, and the reason is because the blade spins much more slowly. It's about 1750 RPM, and a wood cutting chop saw is about twice as fast, about 3500. This one came from the factory with an abrasive wheel, so a grinding wheel, and it would cut by grinding the metal away, but I like to use these carbide blades. It's actually meant for cutting ferrous metal. It cuts it faster and with less sparks than the abrasive wheel, and so that's what I use most of the time. I'm working on a metal project right now, and I've got this chunk of angle iron here. I'll just make a cut. You can see how it works, and maybe you might want to get into metalworking one day. The thing I like about the carbide blades, nice smooth cut, and hardly any heat buildup either. So there you go, the world of chop saws.